Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. Thanks for coming out. I grabbed this 2010 Toro Recycler out of my to-do pile. I had tagged the handle $20, and this one came from the scrapper that delivers, so I gave him 20 bucks for it. I fired it off with Happy Juice, and it kicked off. I checked the blade. Blade is bent. I kind of looked at the shaft. Shaft is not bent. So I was moving the front end up and down, and the whole wheel assembly here had a lot of play in it. So we're going to discuss wheels and wheel bearings and retainers. So this thing has lacked maintenance. So I'll go through the carb, and the tank's empty. There's no moisture or no fuel in the tank. So I'll give you a model number right now, what we're working with. It's the Toro model 20331. So since it needed wheel bearings, I did a little experiment. I'm getting ready for show and tell. I had bought a 10-pack of these for $16.46 or something like that, $1.64 each with shipping. I wanted to see if these would fit the OEM Toro bearings, and we're going to go up here on my bed of my truck and look at these and compare them to the Toros. So this is what came out of it. The stock Toros have a plastic grease keeper, and you can just tell by the movement in these things, the bearings were shot. All that moisture you see there is my rust buster. I kind of put some on this to break them out of the retainers. So they did need to be changed. So 13-year-old unit. The bearings made it 13 years on the originals. Here's the one wheel. This was on the right side, and you can see all the teeth are ground down there from this thing jumping up and down. The teeth go higher than they should, and then they start chewing up the teeth. This side isn't so bad right up here. It didn't get chewed up a whole lot, but right in there it started. I didn't even look at this one. This one hardly has any wear. I could probably reuse this one on another junk project. There's no wear at all. Only wear is on the tread depth. In a pinch, if I had to use this for a spare on another project, I could get away with throwing this one on. This was the left side. So speaking of wheels, I didn't bring a spare one out here, but the model number for the wheel is the Toro number 119-0311. I should have brought one out to show and tell, but you can see the number there, 019-0311. And it's the 5-spoker. And you see all my greasy fingerprints. I greased up the axle. So let me put you on the stand, and I'll bring you up here. Hopefully the camera's high enough, but I'm going to make it work regardless. Okay, where are we at? We're right here. I gotta doctor you up a little bit more. Okay, as you recall in some of the other videos, I used Bill's Place. He has a deal where you get Um, a couple of factory bearings, which is this one. 2 bearings, 2 retainers for $19.99. The retainer number is 1048698. That's for the 2331 model number, and there's probably 5 or 6 other Toro numbers that this will work on. The stock ball bearing number 1048699. So in one of the last time I did a job on a Turo, I said I'd probably try to use these China aftermarket bearings and see if they would work. Well, I had no problem putting the aftermarket bearings on this Turo here. The Chinese bearing fit into the retainer perfectly. I used a 32 millimeter socket, put it up here on the outer lip of the bearing and tapped it gently into place. Something like that. You don't want to put a smaller bearing in here because all you're doing is pushing on the ball bearings, and you could push this whole centerpiece down. You want to be out here on the outer part of this lipped bearing, and then gently tap it down evenly. I put a little grease on it. So the only thing that I found on the aftermarkets was the aftermarkets are a little deeper than the stock. This is stock aftermarket. You can see it's slightly deeper here in the measurement. But you can see up here in the retainer, there's plenty of room here to accept this bearing. There's a whole lot of room up here as far as depth. So mine tapped down and they went flush here. So there was nothing where I had a whole lot of the bearing here sticking out of the retainer. It got flush after I tapped it down. So you can actually, when you take these out, you can look down in here and you can see a gap where the bearing actually fits in, and you can see an air gap in here where it doesn't sit flush. So I used my little micrometer here, mic'd up everything. It was all the same. The only difference I had seen is the depth, how these sit. This is a little shorter. So I'll give you the dimensions. I got these on AliExpress. The inner dimension, the outer, and the 11.15 is probably the width. Inner, the inner is the 12.8, 28.7. Is what that dimension is. The 12.8. And I can't do things here with 2 hands. There's your 12, and I'm off camera. That's the 12.8. 28.7 under the lip there. And the 11.15 is going to be, got the wrong bearing. That's the OEM. I should have been measuring this one. This is the 11. This is the 11.5. Keep getting off camera. So the depth is 11.5 on the Chinese aftermarket. Outer on the Chinese is 28.7, which matches the OEM, and then the inner is the 12.8. So there's a newer style retainer for the newer machines on the Toros. It looks like something like this. And when you buy a kit from Bills, he gives you the same bearings, the 104/8699. So that means this Chinese aftermarket will fit this style retainer as well. This is the screw-in type. The type here is the C-clip type. So there you go. Just wanted to fill you in on a cheap alternative aftermarket Chinese bearing that'll replicate the Toro. This is the cheap aftermarket. It'll work for you. They're easy to take off. Once you remove all the clips and pull this off, you just take a chisel, get it started all the way around, and these old bearing assemblies come out of here. Usually there's a bunch of dirt and crap that gets caught up at the bottom. I take a screwdriver, clean up all the crap in there, and put a little grease once it's cleaned up, and then put my bearing in with a, I think this is 32mm socket, outer lip, and then tap it down till it's flush. Okay, that's all I got for you. Tip your waitress and wait staff. I'm going to call it a day here. I'm going to do the carb work and switch out the blade a different day on this 2010 Toro. I've had enough excitement for one day messing with the model number 20331 on this fine Toro machine, equipped with the Briggs & Stratton 675. Appreciate you coming out. Hopefully you guys can order some of those bearing kits. You can buy them in a 2-pack, 4-pack, or a 10-pack. And I just went with the 10-pack just to get it over with, and it ended up working out for me. So I think I should probably maybe think about ordering another 10-pack. I'm getting a little low here. I've got enough to do 3 more mowers. I got 6 here, so that'll get me by a couple months. As always, please tip your waitress and wait staff. They're doing an awesome job, and if your wheels aren't engaging, think about doing a bearing job and buy yourself some new 5-spokers. Thanks. That's all I got for you. From the farm animals and me, have a nice day. Be generous to your wait staff and your waitress. Have a nice one.